Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So, today I want to talk about the King Before Roger. If you're not completely caught up with the One Piece manga, I highly suggest that you do not watch this video. If you read the last chapter of One Piece, you know that there was a pirate crew. Oda revealed a pirate crew which once existed. They were last active 40 years ago in the past. And before it was Roger's age, it was theirs. Members of this crew who were not the actual captain include Kaido and Big Mom. And just to share something that's going viral on social media at the moment, it also appears as though there's strong evidence which indicates that Shaki, who's Rayleigh's wife or girlfriend, lives with him in Sabaody, was also previously a member of this crew. In chapter 498 of One Piece, Shaki says that before, Garp has come after her. And it's stated in this last chapter that Garp became famous and was known as the hero because of his activities specifically fighting this one pirate crew. And then it's stated by Hachi that Shaki used to be a pirate over 40 years ago. I don't think that it takes a genius to understand that there might be a connection here, that we don't know of any pirate crews that existed over 40 years ago, aside from this new one that was just mentioned, the Roger Pirates and the Rumbar Pirates. It's pretty clear that Shaki was not a Rumbar pirate. It is also, she does not state to have been previously a member of the Roger Pirates, so then that doesn't fit. So you're just left with really only one possibility at this point in time in the story, that Shaki was previously a crewmate, a nakama of Big Mom and Kaido. As I talked about in my first reaction to the last chapter of One Piece, I personally believe at this point in time, given what we know, that this previous pirate crew that ruled the era before Roger, the captain of that crew, who is gone missing in some way or died or whatever, he was a force equal to or greater than Roger, but just came before him, with probably different ideals. I think that this guy was probably a monster, and Garp's reaction to the thought of this pirate crew returning, I think emphasizes that. But what I really want to do is I want to focus on two lines which intrigue me and I think open up a lot of possibility. Now this is something that I've seen mentioned to me since the chapter has dropped, but I really just want to put this by itself because it could be critical. In both translations that I read of the last chapter, Hina tells us that this previous crew lost, quote unquote, their captain. It's not stated that he died, it is not stated that he was captured or imprisoned. No, they lost him. And so losing someone can imply death, but it can also imply many other things. Basically what I'm trying to suggest here is that it is very uncertain whether or not this captain is dead or alive and where they are. Although we would obviously have to assume that at this time they would be pretty old. But you also need to keep in mind that people in the One Piece world live an absurdly long time. As we can see recently, Dr. Kureha is 142 years old. She's the oldest person that we've seen. But if this person, as a captain, retired, let's say, at age 50, then 40 years has passed, they would be 90. They would be the very same age as Brook. And I think that this adds really interestingly with the very next line in the last chapter. Garp says, "There's no point worrying. If they return, they will be a huge threat. This situation, though, will get far bigger than any of us are imagining right now." And so the connotation of what Garp is saying is sort of suggesting an alliance between Kaido and Big Mom, sort of reforming this Locks crew or whatever it is that they were called. But it's pretty clear that Kaido and Big Mom are not going to form an alliance. They're not friendly. Big Mom did suggest to Kaido that he should be friendly and that he owes her, but Kaido, despite hearing this, said just straight up no. If you come here, I will kill you. And then afterwards, Big Mom says, "Fine, do as you please. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And if you get in your way or if we have to fight, then so be it." So then what's the point of Garp saying this? To address the possibility of an alliance? Is Oda trying to mislead us as an audience? Or will this pirate crew actually return, but perhaps not in the way that is explicitly being suggested? Several months ago, there was an interview or a speech written by Oda where he addressed the upcoming Wano arc. And he said this: "I'll introduce one of the legends which lurks in the One Piece world." Now, there were a few ideas that floated around when this interview originally took place. However, I personally I wasn't as hyped as everyone else because I pretty much assumed that who Oda was talking about, as anticlimactic as that is he was talking about Kaido. Nobody else really fit for me, despite some people arguing for Shiki or Green Bull. But with the reveal of this old, monstrous pirate crew with a captain whose fate is incredibly difficult to be sure of, and nobody seems to know where they are, but it's suggested that they could possibly return, I am beginning to think that maybe the lurking legend which will be introduced in Wano is in fact the previous captain of Big Mom and Kaido. My brain tells me why not. It just works. As an idea, it works. Is it guaranteed? Of course not. We don't know what happened to him. A lot of people might try to speculate about what really happened with this crew, why they no longer exist, and how they got disbanded, but straight up, I don't think that we know enough, unless there are some very subtle details in which I am missing currently. But because of the language used, the ambiguity of it, even if this person appears as an old man, even if this person appears as the shogun of Wano, if he appeared in any form, it would be the definition of a lurking legend. And I think that you can rationalize other bits of this as well if you were really inclined to do so. For instance, if this captain wanted to retire, and if you're going to retire and not be captured by forces or chased to the ends of the world, then it makes sense to go to a country which has no ties with and the world government fears. But if I'm honest with you guys, it's all that we have to work with right now, and for now, this is just something that would be incredibly cool. But doesn't have a whole lot to substantiate it quite yet. It's just simply a possibility. But as with everyone else, I'm looking forward to finding out more about this crew, what it is that they stood for, their history, their accomplishments, their captain, and why they no longer exist. And regardless of whether or not we actually get to meet the captain in Wano, I believe that we will find out the answer to these questions and many others we haven't even considered in Wano. I haven't even touched on what exactly Big Mom did, which Kaido owes her for. But anyway guys, that is all I wanted to say today. As always, I'm curious if you guys have more to add to this, whether you agree or disagree, and why. Just share your thoughts. I want to give a huge thanks to everybody who supports me via Patreon. I do not bring up my Patreon very often, but I really appreciate every single one of you guys. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always guys, have a wonderful day.